This handheld thermal camera is pretty darn cool. Let's check it out. Dave Taylor here, and I'm checking out this. This is the HSFTools HP96 Handheld thermal camera. And as you can see on the screen, it actually is producing thermal images. So it's understanding all of the temperatures that it's seeing. It is essentially a tiny camera. So you can see that there's a lens here, and then there's the display screen, and this is a touch screen. So it's pretty slick. It's a 3.5-inch touch screen, and the infrared is 96 by 96 resolution. So it's a fairly small image, and it can do camera, photos, or video, but you can always zoom it in, and it's actually pretty slick. I'm gonna have some really fun demos in just a minute or two. So 96 by 96 IR resolution. You can upscale it to 240 by 240. The camera itself is taking images at 640 by 480. And it uses what's known as a vanadium oxide detector. So this is one of a couple of ways that devices can identify temperatures, and this one's considered to be one of the best. It's used heavily in medical and automotive and security and industrial, and now you can use it at home or in the office or in the shop or in the garage. Lots of interesting applications. So it does video and audio recording, and its field of view is 50 degrees. So it's a pretty wide field, and hopefully you can see me on there, and I'm probably looking fairly red because I'm going to be the warmest thing that this camera is looking at right now. So it actually can detect from -4 degrees to 662 degrees Fahrenheit, depending on how you set it up, with plus or minus 2% accuracy. So it's not exactly perfect, but it works really well to identify hotspots. Or for example, if you're sitting in your house and you're like, it's really cold, what's going on? You can just look around your room and identify the cold spots, and that's like, aha, that is what I need to fix or replace or update, and I'll show you that in a second too. So it has 5 image modes that are thermal, optical, fusion, blend, and PIP, or picture-in-picture, and then there's 8 different color palettes. The idea being you can try all these different variations to get the one that gives you the most visible differentiation in your image so you can get the best results you want. Now, in the box is the device, and it's rechargeable. So there's a USB-C on the side, and you use that to charge it. Fully charged up, it'll run for 4 hours. And the box includes a very nice little carrying case. It includes a little strap if you want to just put that on the end, and then you can have it around your wrist. Most importantly, it includes a USB-A to USB-C cable, and this is pretty important because this is the best way, possibly the only way, to get data off of the device. So I used it to record some video, and that's how I got it onto the computer so I could integrate it into this. In fact, speaking of which, let's just jump into my demos. So the first demo is I just want to spin everything around. I have boiling water and ice, and I'm going to show you on the screen what that all looks like. Then we're going to go back in time to last night when I actually took it and went outside. I started out in my kitchen. I'm going to show you my toaster and my freezer. And then we're going to go outside and look at the hot spots in the front of my house. And then we'll come in and look at the cold spots in the window. And then I'll come back on camera. Let's go through the 5 different image modes. This is fusion, so it adds some optical information. If we go to thermal, all we're getting is the temperature information. And then this one gives us picture-in-picture, which is interesting because you get the sort of general visual, and then there's a little box in the middle that actually shows you the temperatures. And then we can go here to level, and that gives you the ability to set different sort of boundary states. And then finally, there's also visual. So I actually prefer fusion. I think that's the most interesting. And then you can switch here, and we can try different color palettes. And you can see how that makes it more or less obvious what's going on. Rainbow actually seems to work pretty well. And then here's some settings you can have in terms of how things are set up. And we're going to go over to settings, speaking of which, and just real quick, here's some of the settings you have here. And I'm going to go back and we can look at saved images. And if I want to take a video, all I have to do is push and hold on the button on the top. And now we're actually taking a video of what it's seeing, which of course means that I can also do things like pan up and pan down and move around and see what's up. So those are all the key features here. Now let's look at this at night. It's nighttime and it's really cold outside, so the window behind me should register as being really cold. I'm much warmer, hopefully. And then here, this is going to be fun. This is my toaster, and this thing generates some heat. So let's turn it on and watch what happens. It generates a lot of heat, and it all comes out the top. And then it tends to hit this cabinet too. So as you can see, the thermal image of the toaster is changing as these temperature is going up, and it's warming up my hands, which is nice, but I wouldn't want to put my hands much lower. So this is the sense of how the thermal imagery works, and it's really pretty darn interesting. There's a lot you can do with it. So let's go around my house and check out a couple other things. This is my fridge, and the lower portion is my freezer. So let's start by opening the fridge, and you'll see that becomes the coldest spot in the room. But what happens if I open the freezer? Let's find out. The freezer's obviously going to be colder than the fridge. The freezer should be at about 0 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, I'm going to go ahead and close it. Don't want to lose all the heat, but let's go outside and check one more thing. It's pretty cold outside. I'd say it's in the low 30s, and no surprise, I am losing heat through my windows. What's interesting though is the hottest point is actually the light immediately adjacent to my front door, which apparently is generating heat in a way that other lights are not. And those windows are not doing me any favor with an insulation. But check out my garage door. When we do that, it's an insulated garage door, so the center part isn't losing any heat. But the top and bottom, it almost looks like it's not even closed properly. It's definitely losing heat there, and that's just the nature of it, because you can't have a perfect insulative seal and have it be able to be opened and closed, but it's not great. Then again, look on those upstairs windows. They're doing pretty good. Maybe the one right over my front door is losing some heat, but the other ones are in pretty good shape. Also notice that the little dots there, those are actually some holiday lights. They're very festive, and they're LED lights, so they're not generating any heat, which is nice. But I'm really a bit concerned about those front windows, so let's go inside and see what they look like from the other side. This is the inside view, and as I predicted, those windows are just dark blue, and that's the coldest spot. And I actually have left one of the windows open a little bit, and notice where it's highlighting the coldest spot is, exactly at the open window. And it's showing you that the room is in the 70s, which is very pleasant, but that cold spot, that open window, is bringing in air that's about 42 degrees. So that's going to cool my house down pretty darn quickly. It's really cool. I've had a really good time experimenting with this and trying it in different scenarios. And as you saw, you can turn on or off, but the little tiny crosshairs show you the hottest and coldest and average temperature in the entire image that it's looking at. And you can even set up not to exceed alerts. So if you're monitoring, for example, maybe your fuse box while you're actually running some appliances, trying to understand why something keeps getting triggered, and you could set it up and say, if it ever gets hotter than a certain temperature, then let me know with some alert sound. So that might be something you use in your shop. You got a new tool, and every time you run the tool, the breaker flips. So this could help you diagnose that problem. Now, as I said, It has a 4-hour battery, and it gives you storage on board for up to 30,000 pictures or 20 hours of video. Now remember, this is not shooting 4K UHD video. This is just a very humble 96 by 96 with various overlays and such. So, you know, that's why it has so much storage space, but it's exactly what you need. And there's a lot of IR systems out there that are like a gun with a tiny, tiny screen. Not a fan of those. This, by having this much larger screen, becomes far easier to use. So if you're at all interested in thermal imagery for whatever application, whether it's industrial or commercial or personal, then this is definitely a great option, and it's really fun. Definitely one to check out. Now, I'm going to ask you to subscribe to my channel. Click or tap on that subscribe button, hit that bell icon for notifications, give me a thumbs up if you found this of value, and I obviously hope you did. Excellent. This is the HSFTools HP96 Handheld Thermal Camera, and it is $259.99, currently discounted down to $189.99 at Amazon.com. Regardless of what price you find it for, this is a really interesting device, and there's a lot of fun you can have with it. So that's all I got. I'm going to go back and look at my toaster again really closely. You can see it right there. Let's try to figure out why it's wasting so much heat. Anyway, that's what I got. Hope to catch you in my next video.